ready to go. So, if you don't know this, oh, that's my cat. Zelda, hey! Hey everybody, I am Dr. Kirsten Lawrenson. Welcome to my cooking show. I created this cooking show to teach and give you recipes that are simple, they're super easy, and they help support your body's natural ability to detox. So what we're going to be cooking today is called a BARC bowl. And what a BARC bowl is broccoli, avocado, brown rice, or just rice, and Cajun seasoned chicken. You put it all together and you make this super awesome bowl that's really balanced with both protein, fat, and also carbohydrates, and it's all made with whole food. So let's jump in. I am a functional medicine physician in Wilsonville, Oregon, and one of the things that's really important is that we get all of our food from really good sources, and sometimes that's not really an option, but when we can, that's definitely what we want to do. So you are going to see what I do with my chicken, which for a lot of you it's probably going to be a little bit easier if you just get chicken breasts from the grocery store. But if you are going to your local farmers and you are getting chicken from them, like we raised these chickens this year, but we also, on our farm, but we also have a friend who raises chickens for a lot of people. And so if you go to somebody that's raising your chickens, oftentimes you're going to get them in this form. So I'm going to show you how to break that down a little bit so that you can get the breasts off of a chicken and know how to do that, okay? And if you already know how to do this, then go ahead and skip it. But today we're going to start, and what you're going to do is you're going to have the breast side up, so it looks like this, and then you're going to basically make a line down the center with your knife. Really helps if you have really sharp knives. And you're going to start, you can start off to the side of the bone, or as long as you find that middle bone, I'll kind of show you that middle, what it would actually be for a human would probably be the sternum, but you're going to find that, and then you're going to cut to either side of it so that you can start pulling that breast tissue away. And then you're going to continue to follow that breastbone all the way down, and kind of peel that breast away as you go. And then you're going to see like the breast, and then you're also going to see the tender. So if you've ever bought chicken tenders at the grocery store, this is basically where they come from. They sit right underneath the breast. And then you just follow that line down and start to peel that off. And so I created this BARC bowl because what I was doing at the time was I was creating meal plans for people. I work a lot in nutrition, and I was looking at all of the things in my kitchen at one point, and I was like, what the heck am I going to make for dinner? And I thought, well, I have chicken, I have broccoli, I have avocado, and I have brown rice. And actually at the time I had these brown rice packets that I'd gotten from Costco, which at ours they don't sell anymore. I found them a couple of times at Fred Meyer, but I haven't been able to really find them since. So you're gonna actually, so I'll show you here really quick. Usually what I'll do too is I'll start to peel the skin off. And if you like the skin, you can keep it on. Like if I cook this chicken whole, I'll usually keep the skin on, but what it can do is trap in bacteria. So a lot of the times you're gonna hear that you should really just take the skin off, but it's not really the end of the world. Okay, so you can see the breast is starting to come off here, and I've actually separated it away from the chicken tender. So I'm just cutting this off here. I'm sure somebody else who butchers chickens is gonna be like, what on earth is she doing? But there you go. See, nice chicken breast right there. So we put that there. And then of course later I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it with the rest of the chicken, because I'm gonna cook something else with the chicken legs. But there's a chicken tender. So anyway, so I was cooking, and I was I was looking for something to make, and these packets had like garlic in the and quinoa and brown rice in them, and then I thought, Cajun chicken, Cajun seasoning is usually one of my favorites, so I put that together. And then of course I'm always looking for different ways to get really good healthy fat into my meals, and so I said, okay, well, avocado, obviously that's pretty yummy. And that was about it. And that's how I created this, and then I called it the BARC bowl. And since then, it's kind of turned into a little bit of a movement. So we're starting off with the first season of this show, the first episode of the show with one of my all-time favorite meals. So, and so easy to make. It's gonna be pretty quick. So if you bought these from the store, you'd already have this, so you could bypass this, and it's a little bit faster. But here you go. So you have your 2 breasts there, and then again, you know, you can see the chicken tenders here on the chicken, and so I'm just gonna pull that off because I'll probably combine that in with this dish, just so that we can have some leftovers as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to the side, and then we are going to go through the seasoning. I'll show you how to break down the broccoli, and also get the rice started so that when the chicken goes in, the rice is cooking, and you know, you're all good to go. So we'll be back in just a minute. Hey guys, okay, so we took a quick break so that I could put the chicken aside and also clean my hands, which it turns out I'm gonna end up having to clean them again. But what we did is we took the chickens off of the actual chicken. We butchered the chicken, and so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get them seasoned, and then I'm gonna show you how to do the rest, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna boil the rice, and so we wanna get that going. We also want to get these into the oven, and then also get our broccoli into the oven as well. We're gonna roast it instead of steam it. So first, starting off with the chicken, I put together almost equal parts of salt, chili pepper, cayenne, less of cayenne, not equal parts of that, and then also garlic powder, and the recipe's on the blog, so you'll be able to grab that. You can also get like the Creole seasoning from the grocery store, and if that's, you know, just a simpler way for you to do this, you can do that too. That's totally fine. But one of the things that you do get when you usually get those pre-worked up or pre-made seasonings is they usually have things like silicon dioxide. They usually have things like whey isolate protein, and all sorts of kind of preservatives. And that's we can easily avoid those just by making our own spices, and it's super duper fast. So with taco seasonings, with Cajun seasonings, I just usually try to make my own, and then I'll just save them in little containers, and they're easy to grab and pretty simple. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sprinkle this all over my chicken breasts here, and get those going. And I've got my baking sheets here, so we're gonna get this all done. Okay, I'm pretty generous on the seasoning because that's where you're gonna get a lot of flavor from. And actually, if you use a lot of spices and seasonings, they can also have healthy aspects to them too, like a lot of antioxidants, stuff like that. So usually using fresh or dried spices can be really helpful, and have some nutrition on its own too. So I have avocado oil here. What we want to do is get your pan all oiled up. One of the things that's really, what people don't really know is when you're cooking with oils, you really want to be using different oils for different purposes because of their high heat cooking point. So for example, olive oil, you really want to keep to lower heats. Like I would use that for salad dressings. And I wouldn't necessarily cook too much with it if it's going to be at a kind of high heat for a long period of time. So avocado oil holds up pretty well. So you're going to hear a lot of people talking about using avocado oil to roast stuff in and cook with. Okay, so I've got that all ready to go. I have my oven set to 375 degrees, and I am going to go ahead and put those in, and then I'm going to top them with a little bit more avocado oil. I'm talking about all the oils, and get those going for, you know, I usually use a temperature, like a thermometer for the meat so that I can know that it's actually done. But most of the time, chicken breasts this size are probably going to take maybe 15 to 20 minutes or so, but I'm going to watch them so that I don't overcook them. Okay, so we'll get these in. We'll get our timer set. I'm gonna put them in for 15 minutes and we'll check on them and see how we go. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And I'm gonna get my hands washed, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna get the rice on the stove, and then I'll show you the last couple bits, okay? Okay, hey everybody, I got my hands washed, and so we're gonna move on to the next stage. Okay, so what we're gonna do is get the rice going. And depending on your rice, you actually might want to get this done first because it can take a little while to cook. But I don't know if you know this, but one of the great ways to make rice taste a little bit better is to use chicken stock for cooking your rice. And extra points if you can make your own chicken stock. Like basically what I'll do with the chicken bones, the chicken carcass that I just pulled all this meat off of, I'll probably boil it and get some broth out of it and some bone broth, but for now this will work. And honestly, just check for the ingredient or for how to cook your brown rice. Just use the instructions on the back because they're kind of going to be different depending on which type you use. But this one is a basmati brown rice, and it calls for 4 to 5 servings. It calls for about 1 3/4 cups of water or broth, and then about 1 cup of actual rice. So we're gonna do that, and I am going to put them together. Yep, we're gonna put them all together. Good. And then we're going to get it to boil. And then we'll reduce to simmer once it starts boiling. And this cooks for about 40 minutes, so that'll take some time. But in the meantime, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get my broccoli prepped. We're not gonna put it into the oven quite yet, but in a little bit, we will. So here we go. So broccoli florets, we're gonna cut off the stems here. And honestly, so here's what I would do. Let's save the stems. Some people cook them and then they eat them. And if that's something that you like, definitely do that. But one of the things you can do with some of like your extras and stuff like and things like that. So like if you chop up carrots and if you have like their stems left over, like the ends, you can freeze those. And then when you have enough frozen, then you can make either vegetable broth with them, super easy hack, or you can or like with this, with broccoli stems, what you can do is you can make a broccoli stem soup. So it's super duper easy and you're not wasting anything, which is even better. Or if you're like me and you live on a farm with chickens, you can feed the chickens the stems too. So either way, but I'm gonna put these off to the side so I can use them later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this into a bowl, and it's really helpful if you can make them kind of bite-sized pieces, because eating like really, really big chunks of broccoli in a dish is kind of annoying. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way, but that's kind of how I feel. Okay, so I'm just gonna chop up some of the rest of these. Awesome. All right, so we're coating again with olive oil. Sorry, avocado oil. I don't know why I keep saying that. So we're coating again with avocado oil, and that looks about good. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to put Himalayan salt on top. So that's the pink salt. And then go from there. All right, so let's get that coated. Good. I'm gonna put a little more avocado oil on my pan. Perfect. add this in. So broccoli is one of the foods that is really awesome for detoxification, and so there's a couple of stages in the liver that happen when we go through detox, and foods like the brassica and cruciferous families like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, they all help support that initial part of the detoxification system, and then they also, because they're super high in a lot of different types of antioxidants, just like a lot of really colorful foods, they also help the body deal with the toxins that go through the liver and then also get them out. So we want to eat a lot of different types of foods, different colors, all that, but we also want to make sure that we're definitely eating enough of broccoli, cauliflower, kale, those types of veggies. Okay, so these are ready to go, and see how simple this is. It can be really, really easy to support your own system. Hey everybody, so we're back. I pulled everything out of the oven and the rice is done, and so we're gonna put it all together, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like and then give it a try, and hopefully you guys go and try it and do it too. So what we start out with is the rice, and so that's all cooked up, so I'm going to spoon some of this and you're going to put it in the bottom of your bowl. And so that goes there. And then any extra that you have can go into lunches or other meals for other days. So we're going to put that. So I don't know if you can see this, but that's kind of what you're looking for. It's just a little bit in the bottom of the bowl. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put the broccoli in first, and then the chicken, and then top it with the avocado. So I'm going to basically take some of these here. And so I just load it all on top. And so a lot of times what I call these are like power bowls because they have so many different nutrients and a lot of really good nutrition in them. And so I just put in, you know, this is going to make probably another serving or so, but so I just load that in like that on that side, and then we're gonna grab the chicken and get this all sliced up. So I made sure that the chicken was cooked to 165, and then it's been resting for just a little bit, so we're gonna get this sliced up here. And so normally what I would do is I would roast, or I would saute my broccoli. This, by roasting it, it just gives it a really good, nice flavor, which I really like for this particular dish. And I also wanted to note that I don't overcook it. So if you look at like the color of these, they're definitely browning and they are getting a nice kind of char crispiness to them, but they're still kind of crunchy. The thing with cooking vegetables is that you really don't want to overcook them because they lose a lot of their nutrition, which kind of defeats the purpose of eating them. They usually keep their fiber, which is a great benefit. But one of the things that you can do is note by the color of them. So if they're turning kind of like a dark greenish brown, then you've probably cooked a decent amount of the nutrition out of them. So a lot of people like to steam them and only steam them for a couple of minutes so that they turn this kind of bright green, and then they take it off and they're still pretty crunchy, but they're cooked, because for some people eating raw vegetables through their GI tract is really, they can't really handle it very well. And also sometimes cooking can release some of the nutrition from vegetables as well. So there's a couple different reasons to do that, but mostly what you just want to do is make sure you're not overcooking them. Okay, so I'm going to continue slicing this up here, and that's turning out pretty good. Obviously you want to avoid pink if you're cooking chicken, so that's why I use a meat thermometer, just to help me make sure that I've cooked it enough, because I really don't like cutting into a piece of meat and then realizing that I didn't quite cook it for long enough. And really what happened, so I put it in there for 15 minutes. I put the chicken in for 15 minutes, and then I took it out, and it was at about 1:30. So then I put the broccoli in. Meanwhile, the rice was on the stovetop cooking, and I reduced it to simmer and put a lid on it and just let it do its thing. So then with the chicken, I put it in for another 10 minutes, and then I checked on both the broccoli and the chicken, and then I let the chicken stay in for about another 5 minutes or so. So that's kind of timeline it took about 30 minutes for the chicken to cook. So they were pretty thick breasts. If you don't have, here's another tip. If you don't have a lot of time, or if you want your chicken to have more seasoning and flavor, what I would do is I would cut these breasts in half and then season both sides, same thing. So you'd have like 4 across the board. That would be another great way to cut down on cooking time, and then also to get more seasoning into the actual chicken. Okay, so what we do is we put this on top like this. So we'll put some pieces there, and then we put some pieces there. Super easy. Okay. And then last, we top with avocado. So we're almost done. Okay, and this is the moment of truth always with avocados, is to wondering if it's gonna be a good avocado. Okay, perfect, it is. Okay, so I will put half of these on each. So I have a story with avocado. I put a knife through my hand trying to get the pit out. So I'm a little bit shy with knives when it comes to avocados. And actually, I don't have feeling in the ring finger on my left hand because of my incident with avocados. And it turns out that knife incidents in the hospital for stitches, the top one is bagels. I don't know if it's still that, but back then it was still bagels. And then avocados were like second or third. So that's fun. So I'm gonna just put these on top. Should have made that a little bit cleaner, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna do that like that. So that half goes on top. And so the way you get a pit out is not like this, it's like this. Okay, and then you just twist it right out. Okay, let me just get that off here. These pits are the worst. I'm just gonna leave that there and I will do that later. Okay, grab this here so I can finish this up. Okay, you guys, so this is called the BARC bowl. It has broccoli, it has avocado, it has rice, and Cajun seasoned chicken, and it's so darn simple to make. This takes literally no time, and especially if you prep some of it beforehand, so easy to do on an evening that you just need something really, really fast, and most likely you have a decent amount of these things already in your kitchen, which is why it's awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this on top here, and it doesn't look as pretty as I'd like it to, but that's okay. So we're just gonna put that like that, and what's nice is to top it with a little more salt, because avocado and salt are the best. So let me grab that. Top with a little bit of salt. So dang easy. Okay. And so here is what that looks like. Isn't that awesome? Okay, thank you for watching my first episode of my cooking show. I'm so glad that you were here. You can find this recipe at gymcall.com/blog, and which is gymcall.com/blog. I will link it below. And you can also find it in my ebook, which is called The 30-Day Reset, which is also on my website. And what I created it for was, I had a lot of patients that were in my office saying, I really want to recover better from my workouts. I'm just staying really sore for far too long, and I think that needs to be I think for a lot of people that needs to be a little bit faster. And so I created it for them, for just reducing some of the really high inflammatory foods that just sneak their way in, that you don't even really realize until you have somebody kind of show you what's there and help you just find some alternatives to cut it out. So the reset teaches you all about detoxification. It teaches you about how your immune system and your GI tract are affected also by detox and by toxins, but also how you can really make sure that those systems are functioning really, really well. And there's recipes, and there's meal plans, and there's grocery lists, so that it's super duper simple. You can use it as a guide, or you can follow it as strict as you want. But this is one of the recipes from that book, and so I hope that you enjoy it. Please let me know if you try it. You can either leave a comment below, or head over to the blog and leave a comment on that recipe page. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Dr. Kirsten. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here and for watching this show. I look forward to teaching you more about detoxification at the next episode, where we're gonna use black rice for a breakfast porridge. All right, you guys, have a fantastic day, and I will see you then.